The mistake with this plant is that... Hello, welcome back, and today's video is going to be about the type of soil you plant your succulents in. Now, you're going to find out how that affects your plant. Obviously, from what we can see here, it does. We've got one healthy plant on the left and then another one that's doing very poorly on the right. So stay tuned to find out what tips I'm going to share for the kind of care you need depending on the soil you've used to plant your succulent in. But first, coffee. So what I've got here is 2 aloe vera plants, and to be very honest, I found this aloe vera variety to be like a drama queen, so a little bit difficult to take care of compared to all the other aloe vera plants that I've got. But today's topic is seeing what happens to it when it's in different types of soil. So these 2 plants, they actually came from the same plant, and believe it or not, this one is the mother plant. So this was a sprout from the side that I had separated, and now it's doing way better than the mother plant. So they are both in plastic containers. So this one's in plastic, but it's got a ceramic kind of pot, and don't worry, I've got it raised from the bottom so that it doesn't sit soaked in. So that's why it's got these roots at the bottom. Plastic pots for both of them, but different kind of soil. Now, I'm not very picky about soil, and I've seen lots and lots of videos about how much of it should be perlite or sand or pebbles or something like that. Now, I'm a simple girl and I don't want to kind of bother with that kind of stuff too much. I just want to put them in the ground and see how they do. So most of it is like experimenting and everything, but this one, if we look at it, it's not ideal, but if you can see that soil, that looks gritty enough. And then for the other one, I've had it since the beginning in this soil, which came from a different plant, and that plant actually died on me, so I just reused the pot. And I know some people are gonna be like, you never should do that, but I do, and it's not an issue. So this is soil that is not as gritty, and then when it gets watered, it holds a lot of moisture. So what I've been doing is I've had this plant for maybe 2 years or so. What I've been doing is putting just a tiny bit of water in it, just because I knew that the soil was holding on to moisture. So if we look at my coffee, so to just give you an example of how much water I was giving it, it was just a tiny bit. Say this is a regular coffee cup, so just like a finger's height kind of bit of water, so just a dab. And I wouldn't water the whole thing. I would just put a bit just around the stem here, and that would be it. And so that was gonna take care of it for like almost a month, several weeks at least, and it would sit inside and be at a temperature of, you know, about 25 degrees Celsius the whole time, right? So it was doing perfectly. Okay, now the mistake with this plant is that I watered it like I do this one or many of my other plants that have grittier soil. I soaked it. So what that meant is it got a lot of water and it couldn't get dry quick enough. So this is the result of overwatering. This is the kind of stress it's got. Whereas the other one is doing great. So this one got a lot of water. Still, I would urge you to be careful with this kind of aloe. So you do soak it, but like don't overdo it. So for this one, I would, again looking at my coffee cup, I would pour 1 full cup of water, and that would be enough for this kind of sized pot. Okay, it would get just wet enough. I want to just briefly summarize what the conclusions of this, well, if we may call it an experiment, was. You can grow a succulent in any kind of soil. So even if it's soil that's not meant for succulents, it can live in it. The thing that you need to be careful with is the amount of water you put in. If it's soil that's going to hold on to moisture, then make sure that you put just a tiny drip once in a while and it will behave just fine. If it's grittier soil, feel free to soak and then let dry completely. The same goes for using pots that have got drainage or not. So I'm just going to touch upon that topic here while we're looking at these two aloes. If you've got a pot that's not got drainage holes, then you want to do the same thing that you would do with this plant. So just put in a little bit of water. For some of my pots, I even put some water, wait for say 30 minutes or something, and then I just hold the plant and turn it over and just get rid of the excess water. So you can do that as well. Conclusion? Yeah, just be careful what kind of soil you've got, and you'll be able to tell immediately if it's one holding on to moisture or not, because the one that just gets dry slower is going to be darker when you get it wet, and you'll notice that even after a day the top is still kind of wet. The other one, you'll notice how fast the water goes through it, and well, that could be your kind of initial signs if you're not really familiar with what that's gonna look like. Okay, so let's check what a lot of watering did to this plant. These are healthy roots from previously, so let's see what's inside the pot. Lovely, lovely manicure, wouldn't you say so? This is not looking bad at all. It's actually got a solid root system and the roots are looking good. Okay, they're not brown, they're not soggy, they're pretty firm, and it's not a goner, so it's going to be able to get better See, lots of new growth right there. As I've taken it out of the pot and I've broken some of the roots while I was getting rid of the soil, I'm going to let it sit and air dry for just a little bit, maybe till tomorrow, and then I'm going to put it back in the pot. Okay, so another good sign that it's not dying on you is that the new growth is not droopy. If you see that some of your roots are mushy from overwatering, then you definitely want to chop those off, get rid of anything that looks unhealthy, and unhealthy would be dark, mushy, brown, soggy, anything like that. If they're pale roots and they are firm, so these are almost prickly, then you know that it's doing well, so those roots you want to keep. And then for a saving mission like this, just leave it to air dry for a day or two, put it back in your dry soil mix, whatever you decide to do, and remember what I said, you want to be giving it enough water based on the type of soil that you put it in. Okay, well, I hope this video has been useful. If you found it helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you'd give it a like, and if you'd subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost anything, and it means so much to me, as I'm a brand new channel and I'm looking to reach more people and help them with, well, simple things like this, plants, cooking, that sort of thing. Okay, well, see you next week. Bye.